There you go. Okay, there we go. So I just wanted to give you a brief background of the knowledge base. So the incentive here, the reason that we that this was developed is essentially that it was discovered that through the history of the RDA, most of the publications associated have grown in a kind of organic bottom-up way throughout the history of the RDA, which is over many years, of course. And that has resulted in those outputs being distributed among different locations. So, of course, the RDA website being the main one, but also more recently the Zenodo repository, but also other websites around the web. So they are a little bit spread out. It's difficult to get them all in one place. And additionally, because of the same reasons, they also tend to be using different metadata. The consistency there is understandably not perfect. So this is where the knowledge base comes in here a little bit by consolidating these different resources and also harmonizing and deduplicating the data associated, metadata rather. And that we then that consolidated database we call the graph. That's on the bottom there. And then on top of that, we have three other components. The discovery component here, which you will see soon, is essentially the main interface that you use to search the graph for all related resources. The publisher is a tool which will be used to publish working group outputs, which we'll talk about more later on as well, together with RDA-related metadata, and thereby sort of facilitating an easier publication process and more harmonized use of vocabulary. And then finally, the annotator is a browser extension that we will use to annotate web-based materials, which is particularly useful in landscape work that most working groups do at some point in their work. And again, all of these things will be described in more detail by Lance here in a second. But for now, I just wanted to give you this brief overview, and I'll hand it over to Lawrence.
Yes, thank you, Simon. I will share my screen in. Let me grab this. Share the screen. I think you should be able to see yourself and now the knowledge base. Okay. So yeah, first I'm gonna show off the main entry point of the knowledge base being the dashboard. The dashboard facilitates a lot of facets to allow filtering on the different types of resources within the dashboard. This is handy should you want to only find resources of code, of course, that fit the facets that you are interested in. For example, picking a certain working group. And then as you can see, the dashboard automatically updates to showcase only the relevant or the facets that still have relevant data based on the selections you've made. So then we can say we want a working group where also the workflows are web resource, and then we can see only one is left. This we can then go to a view, a results view, which shows us a more detailed page where we can also still filter should we like, which then allows us to see the resource in details, which also links back to the actual source of this output. A nice benefit of this is it allows us to, in a sense, tailor custom dashboards. So I'll remove one filter just to make it a bit more populated with more options. And then we can save our search. So if I were to save it, it will give us a link that we can share. So if you were to just copy it and then go to a different page, it opens the dashboard with the facets you have selected. This would allow people, working groups, or any type of entity that's interested in using this to kind of have a dashboard fit for their purposes, which of course is very handy. Secondly, also still it allows free text search as well, of course. So I'll just do research software real fast. And then, well, there's multiple, but it shows all the outputs that have research software as well. Then, as extra support, we have a support materials drawer. This drawer contains a lot of governance resources on almost all things in the knowledge base. Simply click on it. It will open a PDF or HTML, depending on what type of governance resource it is. And you can download it and use it as a normal PDF. Below that, there is a widget. This widget allows you, if there's any kind of issues that you find with the knowledge base, you can submit them to us using this widget. Then we can take a look at it. And then for the second part of the knowledge base is the publisher. The publisher the publisher does require you to log in. This is by ORCID, but I'm already logged in, I still remember. It will contain pretty much the same type of fields as Zenodo contains, but in a controlled manner tailored for RDA. This will allow for a more easier creation of outputs for Zenodo, and also ensures that things are more consistent in the fields, as well as speed up the filling in of the fields for Zenodo. So just to walk through the fields real quick, we have an administrative section which contains some basic data or metadata about the output, such as the language, the one who deposited, when it will be created if you submit it, and also importantly, what Zenodo community it will be published to. This should be noted, and also when the Zenodo community that is selected, it will then, once completed, it will then make a request to that Zenodo community for it to actually be accepted or denied in that community. Then secondly, there's an additional citation section. The citation section is just also still the same as Zenodo, that it will allow you to add additional metadata, such as the title, the version field, publication date, description. These are not that special. An interesting one might be is the contributor one that allows you to add contributors. I can add myself, for example, which then is my Zenodo one. And then I can, of course, also put the role that I have as contributor, which will then be added as well in Zenodo. Of course, we also support things other than ORCID, such as, if you don't have an ORCID to just have a plain name as it showed, and then you can just add that. You can also, of course, add multiples. Then additionally, there are some additional keywords, subjects that you can add to the deposit as well, such as primary domains, RDA pathways, and some more keywords like Cork elements and features, SDG elements, and also some free text keywords. Then it also allows you to add related works to it. Still the same as Zenodo, you can upload a DOI, an URL that relates to this deposit. Can also do, again, multiple. And then lastly, also for the metadata, you can add the rights holder, which should be by default RDA Alliance, as well as add a license to it. And then, of course, you can add the files that are relative to this one, for example, to the deposit, and it will also submit those inside the Zenodo publication. Of course, there will still be more work done on this, which will carry over to next year. So even if the RDA TIGER project ends itself, the maintenance on this will not end. And that is, and then of course, should any submitted forms be made, they can then be repopulated again once filled out. Such as that. And am I missing anything here, Simon?
I think that's good. Just maybe also good to mention here that we are in discussions with RDA as to how this will be implemented and integrated into their workflows. So I expect you'll hear from Bridget or someone else from the RDA early next year with more information about how this will be implemented effectively. But I see you have a hand raised. Xunyong, would you like to?
Yeah. I was just curious. Maybe it's too early to ask this question. But when you enter this Zenodo-like metadata, at the end, do you get a DOI through Zenodo and then kind of add it to appropriate Zenodo community, like a RDA official output community, Tiger community, if it's funded by Tiger, and then related documents if it's regarding presentation at the plenary, something like that? How is it distributed to different RDA community, Zenodo community?
Yeah, it's good that you ask because it will continue in many ways the current procedure around these things. So you will have to choose the appropriate community, which the recommendations is the one that is called RDA simply. And for other supporting materials, there's the other supporting materials, unless I'm mistaken here with the name community. But all of these will essentially have to go through Bridget, who's the curator of these communities, and she will review them to make sure that they're approved, basically.
But when you submit the output from the work group, it goes through the channel. It's like it gets a DOI assigned and then goes to the official RDA community channel that has all the endorsed outputs in a way.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like this is a redundant. Do we not do the output? This is gonna be the future direction, or are we still doing the output from the work group page and then do this on top of it? When they create a duplicate record?
That is a little bit what we're discussing here with Bridget. So the way things normally go, as I'm sure you and many others are aware, is that you first publish something to the working group output page, and then it goes through a review, and then once accepted, that then has to be published by Bridget manually, usually. Through Zenodo. So essentially, I mean, this is not decided. So there's a bit of a parenthesis on this, but what is most likely here is that the working group outputs or supporting materials, once accepted, will then be published by the co-chairs using the publisher. Other things that don't require this review can simply be published, without this prior review process, of course. Does that answer your question?
Oh, I was actually thinking more like a knowledge base as a pooling the existing information, like all the things already published within the RDA. You kind of consolidate in one place where you can find it. I didn't think it's gonna be another channel to publish things. So this is kind of, I'm just finding out. So like I'm a little surprised, and then it could be we could create like a duplicative effort. So we need to kind of clear things, up here before we move forward. If people are doing already output and then people are publishing Zenodo as a related document, of slides, I was hoping this knowledge base will pull that information and sync it rather
It
than creating a
does.
new, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
there's a syncing mechanism there.
there is, and we'll get into that a little bit in more detail later on. But it's good that you mention it. It is indeed syncing from the RDA website, but of course the outputs still need to be published to Zenodo eventually, and that we don't sync at the moment directly. So that's essentially where the publisher comes in. But Mark, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, yeah. I think this is basically the same question as Sean Young, but just phrased differently. Um, how is it currently populated? I mean, I was just searching on my working group. It doesn't have our latest recommendation, which has been endorsed. It has a preprint of a paper we published, but not the actual paper. And it lists the data, the working group twice under two different names.
Hmm.
So, I realize this is a work in progress, but sort of how is it currently populated and what's the sort of maintenance and update plan?
Yeah, at the moment we have a manual process of updating it, and we're working on an API together with the
Okay.
website developers of the RDA websites, and that will be coming online in the coming weeks, hopefully.
Okay.
There will be a manual update, another manual update this week as well, which we unfortunately couldn't make in time for the workshop here, but. So if you have recent outputs, then that might explain why they're not in. If anything else is missing, then please let us know. We have this help desk, which I believe Lawrence already mentioned, that you can access from the lower right, that as he's showing you right now.
Oh, okay.
Should you? Yeah.
So is it pulling from, maybe I misheard you. I thought you said it was automatically pulling from the RDA space on Zenodo.
Not on Zenodo, but
Oh,
the website will be synchronous. So that is what we're working on essentially to get that connection set up.
When
so
you
then, which in turn then suggests that you need to have a good connection between the website and Zenodo, because Zenodo is like the official record for the outputs.
Yeah, so essentially, because there is this review process that also needs to happen. Of course, there is a step between with
Yeah, when
the
it's in
yeah
review and then when it's
yeah
finally endorsed. Yeah.
yeah. So essentially, anything that is found on Zenodo will also be found on the RDA websites. So that is a little bit the current state of affairs. But should there anything, the infrastructure is also capable, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Lawrence, capable of taking in APIs from some Nodo communities as well. Should we find that necessary down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that?
Okay, so maybe I should wait till the next update. I mean, our most recent output has been out there for 6 or 8 months, endorsed for 6 or 8 months. So,
Right. But
um,
if you wouldn't mind just dropping which one it is, we can look into what
okay,
went wrong there. That would be great. Thanks.
okay.
It's a little bit
Through the
wider.
little help, through the little support button, or the
Yeah,
help
or you
button.
can just leave it in the collaborative notes here if you like as well. That's
Okay, I'll do that.
yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
I'll do that. Thanks.
Vitor, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm very new to this, so perhaps I'm going to ask some naive questions. But RDA knowledge graph is built only on top of the node repository, right? And another question is how does RDA knowledge graph integrates or the tools integrates with OpenAir graph?
So it's It's connected to Zenodo via the publisher, so that's what we're showing, what we were just showing now. But the data itself comes from the RDA websites at the moment. So that is the source of the data currently. As I said, down the road it might become relevant to also import data that is not found, although I think that is a rather edge case at the moment. On the website from Zenodo. But as to your second question, that has not been updated yet, but implemented rather. But that's a good suggestion, though. I'm looking at Lawrence here. Has that come up to your mind?
I've heard talk of it. I've talked with Eiko about it, so I think it might be, but I would have to ask Eiko for sure.
Yeah. But thanks for that remark. I think that's important to keep in mind here. Any other questions, or can we move on to the other components?
I just add so is when you publish in knowledge base, is it gonna assign a DOI through Zenodo or not?
Yeah, the DOI is so that is based on the current process that the RDA uses. That is reserved not through Zenodo but through DataCite. So that is essentially provided by Bridget or whoever in the secretariat takes care of the submission essentially, and then applied to the submission in question. And that is much like it happens today, I think.
Right. So I'm just okay. So we already have this established process in Zenodo with the 3 different community, and if you start to assign a DOI through DataCite on knowledge base, so it's going to be siloed in a way. How are we going to merge this one and sync it? And if you actually connect to this in Zenodo, does it come with that Zenodo community metadata as well? Or is it just how are we going to divide it up?
It will come with the community metadata, I think, from the sort of from the perspective of people looking for outputs on the RDA Zenodo community page. The difference will be will not be very noticeable. The main difference here is that the use of metadata and vocabularies will be more consistent, but the process of assigning DOIs and so on will essentially stay the same. So I hope you don't give the impression that this will sort of set up a separate a separate environment for outputs, if you know what I mean.
Right. But if it's a Tiger funded project, because they have a very strict rule about it, we have to acknowledge funding, and Zenodo already has, if the Tiger fund is issued, they have it in the database, so you can assign it. So how do you keep track of Tiger funded project within the knowledge base?
That is also there's also an advantage of these communities is that the curator, mostly Bridget again, is able to not only accept which submissions make it into the community in question, but also is able to edit the metadata and even the associated files as well. So when it comes to funding information, that can be added as appropriate. And anything that's not supposed to be in the community will not end up there if Bridget can help it, let's say.
Okay.
Shall we? Unless there are any other questions, maybe we should move on so we don't run out of time for the other components here. If that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Well, then to continue where we left off, I will be displaying or showcasing the RDA Annotator, the browser extension that can be used to annotate web resources. I'll first maybe share the link. I don't know, did you share the link already? Which one is it? This one? Yeah. So the link in question shows you there to download this RDA Annotator extension. The reason why it needs to be downloaded here and not on the browser extension stores as you might be used to is that we're still in the middle of the approval process of said browsers. This is a lengthy process. And unfortunately, also given the holiday season, I bet it will take even longer. So for now, this is an early way to get used and use the extension. You are free to follow along with this. I will try not to go too fast so you can experience it for yourself as well. So by simply navigating down to the Annotator downloading page, you can see a download for Chromium button we can press. Once pressed, it will download the extension. I'll just open it here. I already downloaded it. Simply select the zip that has been downloaded and extract it. Extract it in the location, and like so then. After which you can navigate to the top right in your browser. It will either be 3 dots, 3 bars, or something else, depending on the browser you are using. And simply navigate to extensions, and then more precisely manage extensions. You will simply come in the view where all your extensions are. Yeah, you will likely maybe even see your own extensions here. And then in the top right, we'll press developer mode. By developer mode, we'll see 3 additional buttons appear. And if we press the load unpack button, we'll simply navigate to the directory that was extracted from the zip file. Simply pressing select inside of this directory will install the browser extension. And by enabling set browser extension, by clicking on the puzzle piece and then pinning it, you can see we now have the button of the RDA Annotator extension. And that is roughly the installation process. Again, this is temporary until it is improved in the browsers themselves, as then we can just navigate to the extension store and press the add button. Clicking the widget will enable the extension. You will be greeted with an introductory text with some frequently asked questions about the extension. Simply pressing start annotating will prevent you also from seeing that screen every time it opens. And then here we see the annotations tab, which shows what annotations it's found on the page, what annotations are found or related to the page, but no longer or harder to anchor. This could be by all kinds of things if the DOM structure, so the actual, let's say, code of the page, whether it be a PDF or the actual page changed in any way and it can't exactly pinpoint the annotation, it will still be able to be seen here, but just without the actual precise anchoring location. You can also see your annotations that you've made as well, which I'll come into a bit. And then the first thing you should do is log in. By logging in, it will show a pop-up for ORCID. And this would allow us to make annotations. I've just grabbed a random PDF of the RDA TIGER Zenodo community, just as a nice little example. We can select some text, press annotate text, which will show a little bulb and then show a temporary highlight. We can see the fragment is now visible inside of the sidebar. And then we can enrich this annotation on this web resource with the additional metadata, which I'll go to now. I will go through this a bit fast just to save a bit of time. I'll just give it a title, RDA Discovery, FAQ, output section, something like that. Of Of course, all the fields with a star are mandatory. The additional and non-mandatory fields can be added just as additional notes, additional metadata. Some fields are already pre-populated, such as, for example, the resource fields, of course, so it will assign it to the proper URL. Then we also have to decide what concept or resource type this is. We can say, for now, we'll just make it under publication. Then we can add some additional keywords and tags that were from RDA. For now, I'll just pick some, as well as RDA pathways. Additional information about some additional information can be found by clicking the information icon. Multiple items can also be added. And we have core elements and core attributes, as well as we can select interest groups where this might be relevant to, as well as working groups who might have you might think are related to this. Same with domains. And also, for example, months here. This is also to showcase that we can add additional vocabularies outside of just the standard RDA ones, which might still have relevance to RDA members and when making these annotations. We can then toggle this, remember my choices for next time, which will save all of the choices we just made from the selected metadata options for if you were to make annotations in bulk that are of a similar context. And by simply pressing then create annotation, as you can see, it highlights, it creates the annotation, shows it in the site that others can see it as well. And we can do things like, for example, clicking on it, it will show it into view, show a sidebar with the information we just added, as well as, of course, here's then my ORCID, for example. So it shows who made the annotation as well, with the related vocabularies that we picked as well then. Of course, we can also go over it again and again and make as many annotations as we like. And then once those annotations have been made, they, of course, are then also, again, visible. Oh, I still have the selection made. They are again also visible then, of course, to be filtered on for if you're just interested in annotations within the knowledge base. Of course, vice versa as well. If you're not interested in annotation and just want to see outputs, then that can be clicked as well. And then here, for example, there have already been some annotations made. We can click on just like the resources, and it shows the fragment that was annotated, as well as then what additional vocabularies and other metadata it was added to it, and of course the original URL from which it originates. And that is it for the annotator. And then, of course, as mentioned Simon as well, just to round off a bit, for example, for the graph, for the sync, as he said, we will be implementing that soon, as well as maintenance will carry on for next year, that as well. And I think that is, as far as I can consider, the knowledge base and the annotator. And have I forgotten anything, Simon? I don't think so. I think that should be all right.
Yeah, thanks, Lawrence. I think we can go into more detail about how to potentially use this and what are some additional potential use cases here in a bit. I'll just share my screen quickly again in a sec. Let's see. There we go. So, the idea here is that now we go into a little bit more detail on the existing use cases and potential additional ones. So we're really happy to hear your thoughts and suggestions here. As maybe we can start here a little bit with the annotator, since we just talked about it, and the as I believe I mentioned earlier, the main use case envisioned here was for the annotator to be used during the landscape analysis phase that a lot of working groups do in the course of their work. The motivation here is that a lot of the rather time-consuming work of doing landscape analysis doesn't make it to a publication in the end. Only what is relevant for the work at hand, right? So by annotating useful information along the way, you can help other working groups, both your own members and potentially others in the RDA. Is the thinking here. More specifically, we, as Lawrence already mentioned, are able to import other vocabularies into the annotator so that you can annotate using specific vocabularies. So we already saw Gork and Momsy in there. Those are, of course, developed by working groups. But implementing or importing rather other vocabularies is also a rather straightforward process, and you can toggle those on and off, so you don't have to be bombarded with a long list of vocabularies. More broadly, we already mentioned the findability functionality here, which, as we have already discussed, is a little bit a work in progress, of course. But I think the issues that you highlighted here in the call, but also in the notes, is illustrative of the issues that we had here. The process of harmonizing data, naming variations, different use of metadata, etc., was a massive piece of work done by mostly my colleague Alessandra, who's not here today, but so that is a little bit of work in progress, and also then needs to be fed back to the RDA website as well. Then the documentation and guidance here that Lawrence highlighted is another existing use case that will be populated with additional materials, and we can also potentially accommodate more materials that people would find useful. This is not only about guidance and technical instructions, but also templates and other useful pieces of useful materials for working groups and other RDA users. And then finally, we have the support desk that we mentioned. Now, other potential use cases that we've looked at here. My slides are refusing. There we go. So custom vocabularies I already mentioned. We have also looked at making citable references to web resources. Essentially being able to cite annotations more granular citations, let's say. Exportable metadata from the knowledge base is another one, or publishing to multiple endpoints at once. So not only Zenodo. It's another one we've heard, but not to spend any more time talking here ourselves. So we would like to hear your thoughts and questions, any other input you might have. So please feel free to jump in. Shonyo?
Yeah, I guess my main, I put something in the chat. I know it's a work in progress. Maybe, there's a lot more work to be done in terms of more information to be pulled in. But my main concern is that unless we are syncing to the Zenodo, because output tab is connected. So when you submit it, automatically gets the Zenodo DOI, and then also put into, relevant Zenodo community, output community, or, Tiger community, and so on. So we're going to have a more and more gap between this knowledge base and then RDA Zenodo community in a way. So unless we completely switch to knowledge base and everything is tied to knowledge base, when people submit it in the output, it goes to knowledge base, not Zenodo. I'm just afraid there will be bigger gap as time goes on, and especially you're going to mint the DOI through data site, unrelated Zenodo, and then a bridge is going to curate the data and they put it in Zenodo community. So it's like a duplicate effort. I thought this is more, when I first heard about knowledge base, I thought this would be like a catalog. We're pulling all the information scattered all over the place into one place where we can find it instead of going to Zenodo and everything else. So syncing is very important. So you pull all the published data already in appropriate bucket into the knowledge base. And when we search, it'll show up. But right now, search function is not working very well because it's not pulling all the outputs data. And moving forward, I don't know whether we should encourage people to publish things here or go with the existing procedure. So that needs to be kind of worked out before we move forward, go more deeply into this project. I think we need to kind of, what is the future direction? Are we consolidating everything into knowledge base, or are we going to still continue with the Zenodo community? And then this will be used as just a collection, like a catalog. We put all the information into one place. That scope has to be defined before we go further.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think maybe what I can say to as quickly as possible here, be mindful of the time, but is that essentially it is very much resembling the current state of doing things at the RDA when it comes to publishing. The assigning of DOIs and review process when entering into RDA communities. I think and also what I would emphasize is that the knowledge bases should essentially reflect what is on the RDA website and the Zenodo community. But again, I would also just emphasize that this is a discussion that's going on in RDA, and if you have any concerns about it, I would be happy to forward those to the RDA. But maybe we should also regarding the publishing process itself, wait until the workflow is announced by the RDA, I would say. But sorry, Vitor, you had your hand up?
Yes, just two quick questions. I guess when you say knowledge base, it will be possible to make Sparkle queries. It might be a kind of RDF graph. And is it possible to do Sparkle queries through API, or can we just browse it with the web interface like you showed before?
I'll refer that one to Lawrence.
Yeah. No, at the moment it is only possible to browse it with the UI interface. I don't know, were there any plans to integrate this with any other projects, Simon, like RDF-wise?
Yeah, I'm not confident enough to say, but it does seem like we have talked about this, and it would be a reasonable thing to include indeed. So thanks for that. We should say here, as what Lawrence is alluding to, is the fact that this infrastructure behind the knowledge base is to a large extent consisting of shared code that other projects and applications use. So that is a little bit an advantage here in terms of the sustainability and future lifespan of the knowledge base as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? see we've got some questions in the chat. Does anyone like to bring those up here as well in the remaining time? Thanks for those, by the way. Oh, I see a question about the recording. That will be made available, yes. Yeah. Lindsay?
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to fully explore things, but was the main aim to just make resources more findable as the web development has kind of lagged behind on making that an efficient process? And if that's how it began, it seems like there's a lot more stuff now, right? Like the technical applications that have been like woven in have seem you know more more thought out, right? And so that's why I even asked the question about keyword searching. At what point do you continue to make a resource more challenging, right? So sometimes just even having roles and responsibilities of like who defines the structured term categories, because that's already an issue in plenaries is you, if you're not the expert in the working group defining those terms for your group, sometimes they get mismapped, right? And so
Yeah.
I just think having a little more structure there will definitely advance the knowledge graph down the line. But I wonder if it's almost like the technology will just set you back like you were before if it becomes too complex. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's question or statement, but it's kind of like the aim is clear, but now it's become like super technical, right? So I
It's
don't
good
know if
to
that's
keep.
been discussed.
Yeah, it's good it's good that you bring that up because I mean it is a discussion we're having here. You mentioned the vocabularies and how we control that. So there will have to be some body of the RDA taking care of curation down the line. When it comes to vocabularies, that is not decided yet, but as you say, it's an important issue to work out, and also on the technical side of things, there will have to be a discussion about how this is implemented in the best way possible. Of course, the main goal here is to improve to make things easier for the working groups essentially in their work. So we don't want to complicate things, of course. I hope that somewhat answers your question.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like either it'd be great to work with a working group and just use structured terms, or just make it really simple where, you know, higher authorities just set a defined set of terms and then cross-check that with working groups, the ones who delivered the outputs. So it's like either structured or super simple. Yeah, because I do think for working groups it's already, there's so many things depending on how many outputs you have that it just there is a balance between increasing and reducing the burden. And so I try to think about this like, how would I explain this to a working group member who's trying to already navigate some of our outputs, right? So I guess that's kind of one thing as an educational tool from a co-chair standpoint. But yeah.
Yeah, and we're really open to suggestions here as to how we make this more useful in your day-to-day work, let's say. So any ideas there, we're happy to hear. I should say also that this doesn't end here with the end of the RDA TIGER project, as Lawrence already mentioned, but we will continue to maintain this, and it's a organic process in a way, growing this in collaboration with the RDA. So we appreciate your feedback going forward on this. I see we're almost out of time. Are there any pressing questions that you'd like to bring up before we close? If not, then I want to say thanks to everyone who attended, and especially for all the thoughtful questions and feedback that we received here. Thanks to Lawrence for presenting and for all the development work behind this. And should you want to reach out, feel free to use the support desk that we already mentioned. There's also my email address and that of my colleague Vim in the collaborative notes if you want to reach out directly. Yeah, hope to talk again soon, and thanks again for attending. Bye, everyone.